What is up, my little babies? So today we're gonna talk a little bit about my transition because that's like the big topic that I get asked most about. I know that's kind of what I've based a lot of my content about. So we're just gonna start from the beginning. I get asked a lot like how did I know that I was trans? And to sum it all up, I've never felt comfortable in my own body. So pretty much, there's a difference between being a tomboy and being trans. So me growing up, I always wanted to do what the boys were doing. I was always like, whether it be my cousins, my brother, the kids at school, like I wanted to play football, like I wanted to do this, I wanted to do that, like obviously that could be like, okay, well they're just a tomboy, but it was like more than that. It also came down to like when I got older, I didn't necessarily like the way I looked, and at that point I'd been the biggest I'd ever been with weight, and I was like, no, like you just feel fat, like you just want to lose weight, and that's actually called body dysmorphia. So I was like, you know what, whatever, I'm just going to try to lose weight. I'm going to see what this does for me. And that was probably when I was about like 14, 15. So I started losing a crap ton of weight. I was like, I want to be skinny and all this stuff. And then I got down to like 120 pounds. And it was just like never enough for me. I never really understood why. I was like, well, I thought this was what I wanted. But I would always look at like the way, like I was never really attracted to men. But I always liked the way their bodies looked. But it wasn't because I like was attracted to them. It was because I wanted to look like them. And I never really understood that. So I would like go back and forth with like, okay, I want to be super skinny, or like I want to like be bulk and like be like, big like a man is. But I could never figure out, what that meant for me. So when I was about 16, I ordered offline off of like a bodybuilding site, like some testosterone pills. And that was before I knew anything about like being trans or like doing any kind of transitioning, anything like that. So I was like, whatever, I just know that I want to look like a guy. That was all I knew. I was like, I want to look like a boy. And I'd always, wore guy clothes and all that stuff. So when I did, they didn't make their way to me because when they got to the mail, my brother and my mother found them. And they took them from me. And they like questioned me a lot about them, and I was like, I don't know. And they're like, do you know what this could do to your body? And I was like, I hope they're like it's gonna make you look like a man. And I was like, well, that's what I want. But so I just kind of pushed that away. I didn't really understand it. And then I've learned that people could transition into the body they felt more comfortable in. And I was like, what is this? So I started like heavily researching. Like I was like constantly watching YouTube videos, constantly watching other people's journeys, and I was like, I don't know what this is per se, but like I feel like I relate to this. And I would watch all the videos of like the voice progressions, and I was like, I think this is me. Like I think this is what I have. But like I wasn't for sure. So I still kept researching. I kept obsessing over these videos. I tried to come out. I came out to some of you might know him, Elliot, who is also trans. He's on my TikToks with me. We met in the military, went through military, whatever. Elliot. I came out to him when I was in tech school, like I bawled. I think I came out to my mom for the first time there. Tried to like do the little name change thing, and then I went back on it. Also, your transition may not be linear. Don't doubt yourself. I changed my name and then I changed it back because I wasn't sure. It's not just okay, yeah, I know what I'm doing. Like, no, like it's a I need to figure this out. I don't know what's happening, like what's going on until you're like certain. So that was the first time I decided on this. And then like I went back on it and I was like, no, like I don't know if this is what this is. So I'd stopped any plans of it, but I was still obsessing over it in my head. But I'd like stopped making making other people call me by that and all that stuff. Well, then I get to Vegas and I started like obsessing over it again. I was like, no, like this might help my mental health because like I wasn't doing very well in the military. So I went to somebody about it. I was like, and like I actually reached out to a couple people that I'd seen on social media that had that were in the military and that were trans, and I was like, okay, cool. I think I heard back from like one of them, but it was like after I'd already talked to like a mental health doctor. So like I went in, I talked to him. He diagnosed me with gender dysphoria, which is why I brought in the body dysmorphia earlier, because I thought it was body dysmorphia, and we talked about that because I was like, like I see myself a way that I'm not, but it's actually gender dysphoria when you're trans. Like body dysmorphia, like you could in your head you could look like you're 100 or 200 pounds, but in reality you're like 120 pounds. But with gender dysphoria, it's just because you can't get your body to like match what you feel inside. So that's kind of like how I was in, and like he diagnosed me with that. And we were gonna proceed with it. I was like, you know what, like no, like I think this is, I'm pretty positive this is what it is. So like I talked to him a lot, but the military works really slow. So before that could even happen, I started getting really bad mentally in the military, and I knew that I needed out of the military, and that's how I ended up getting out of the military. And after that, I think I told my mom again that time when I was going to do it, and then I like kind of dropped it again because I was more worried about like, hey, don't kill yourself. So I was more focused on like trying to get better, even though I didn't realize that transitioning would have helped me. So I was more trying to focus on like, okay, well, you're kind of suicidal right now, so we need to fix that first, and then we'll worry about this later. So then I got out of the military, and ended up back home. I was living with my mom, and I was still just trying to figure it out. I was like, you know what, like my mental health is better, like I'm home, like I'm out of the military, like all this stuff is like, it seems better now, I have a job now, whatever. And I started talking to my friend about it, and I was like, hey, so this is how I'm feeling. I just kind of let it all out. And practically I don't mentally feel how I look. And like they always knew that, like they always knew that I didn't feel that way, and that that was just how I was. But like I didn't feel like I was trans still. I was like for some reason I was like, I just don't feel like I fit into the category. I was like, it's like, people want bottom surgery, like all this stuff, and like there were some things that I didn't feel like I wanted that other trans people wanted for themselves. And that made me invalidate myself. Because I was like, what if I don't want bottom surgery? What if like all this stuff? And I was like worried about that. I was like, okay, well maybe I'm not trans. And they looked at me and they were like, so you're non-binary? And I was like, I don't know what that means. They're like, you're still trans. You still know you are a man. You just don't fit specifically in that category. And I was like, okay. And like it all just kind of sank in, and like I felt like relief, and I was like, okay, so like I'm still valid. So like even if you're like, okay, well maybe I don't like feel a certain way that this person feels about this, that like that doesn't make you any less valid. And that was kind of what I had to learn, that like if you feel and like you think and like all of the stuff, like you're like, okay, no, like I'm a man or I'm a woman, like, yeah, you probably are. That's probably all it kind of boils down to. And I didn't realize that. So then I was like, okay, well I was like, okay, well, so it was probably like October. It was before I'd moved up to Lexington. Well, then I moved up to Lexington, and I was like, you know what? I want to do this. I was like, I'm unhappy with my body. I'm unhappy with like the way I look, the way I sound. I was like, I know I sound more masculine and I even appear more masculine, but I was like, like this isn't my body. Like this isn't what I'm supposed to look like. I need to get to where I want to be. And I started testosterone February 21st of 2019. And genuinely, it was the best antidepressant that I could have ever given myself. Like, if I would have known now what I knew when I was in the military, I wouldn't have even worried about going to mental health for all the other things, because it genuinely would have fixed a lot of it. That was within myself. Some advice I have is, when you first start testosterone, it's gonna mess up your hormones a little bit. Your hormones need to get balanced again. It's gonna be like a period. It's gonna suck. You're gonna be hormonal, aggressive, irritable, all this stuff. I mean, obviously, like you don't like have to like be angry all the time, but like when it's time, like around shot time, your body's like the testosterone's not really in it, so you know you're putting more testosterone in your body. Like before you do that, you're getting hormonal, and it's gonna be a whirlwind of emotions, and you're gonna have to learn how to control that. And it gets better a couple months later. Like you learn kind of how to control it. It gets less, like, because your body just is constantly like, okay, cool, like this is how my hormonal is like now. Facial hair growth is obviously going to happen. The growth of like body hair, I'm hairy everywhere, and it just kind of happened for me. Voice progression, you'll see a drop normally around like 3 to 4 months, maybe a little sooner, maybe a little later, but like either then you're gonna hear a difference. Like every month you're gonna be like, wow, that's like different than the last, and you're gonna think that it's not. So keep videos, because it'll help you progress along the way. So if you keep videos of how you sounded before, you're gonna be like, wow, like it really has changed. I never had acne before. When I hit my first puberty, got it my second one. It wasn't a really great time. The reasoning why I'm so open about my transition is because I wish I would have had more people to like listen to about it. Like when I was trying to figure out my own transition, like I wish there would have been more people who were like really open about it and like would really sit and like answer the hard questions. So if I haven't answered any of the hard questions, make sure to put it in the comments, because I would love to like hit the nail on the head with some hard questions that people have, because I wish that I would have had those resources when I was so confused about who I was and what I wanted. And the whole reason why I'm doing what I'm doing is because I have a platform now to help people. And that's what I want out of my videos, is to help people like accept themselves or accept others and just be more understanding and like understand themselves. So right now my favorite song is Shameful Company by Rainbow Kitten Surprise. Me and my girl found it. I think I was on our way home from Knoxville. Yeah, it's a good song. You all leave me comments about, again, hard questions that I need to answer, or just questions that you have in general. And then also a song recommendation. But peace out, Girl Scout. Catch you on the flip side.